What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Let's jump into my game week 30 lineups, take a look at how I did in game week 29 and see who I'm predicting to be good picks for this solid game week. Make sure you've dropped a like on the video, comment down below your Sorare handle for a chance to win a limited card if I pick one up in the common champion, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Let's jump into it. So then, from the last common champion lineup, we didn't hit a limited card, so unfortunately no giveaway, but we could do one this week, so fingers crossed. As you can see, I didn't hit in limited at all. I had good strong scores. Joel and B got 91, John ran 75, Darren Fox with 52, but they were just spread out across the three different lineups. This is normally what I mean about prioritising limited champion over any of the newer so modes, but unfortunately I did go with Embiid just as I had a hunch that I had a really good Eastern Conference lineup build, but as ever I should listen to my own advice. I should have played him in limited champion, and potentially we definitely would have been in with a reward if we'd have put Embiid in and fit Vucevic and Morant in that way, but wasn't the case. We live and we learn. Rare contender didn't hit Andrew Wiggins DNP. It wouldn't have been strong enough anyway. Nemhard got an 18. He's been coming off the bench recently for the Pacers since he's come back from his illness. Kevin Knox as well, 13 against the Rockets. I was hoping for a bit of a bigger bump, thinking that there might be a blowout or they could be resting some guys to try and lose and vice versa. RJ Barrett solid, but anyway. Red champion was the big one. We come 67th this week. Red tier 2 projected. There's some solid tier 2s. I mean, the scores are great. Jaden Ivey over Nemhard was the last minute call that went well. Same with Caleb Martin. And then just big scores from the main three, Jaylen Brown, Anthony Edwards, and Triple J. If you can see the rare tier 2 cards that are on offer, some of them are a bit surprising. Andrew Wiggins being a tier 2, I'm not quite sure on, but same thing with sort of Dylan Brooks. Is he a tier 2, would you say? But there are some good cards in here. There's some, like Robert Williams III would be really, really good. Porzingis would be really good. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are both tier 2s this week. Same thing with Jalen Brunson. So there's some solid options, but I'll put everything in terms of the rewards I always post on Twitter anyway, so you can follow me at George_St. or on our Swingman Pod channel at Swingman Pod. So then the slate for game week 30, as you can see, they've still got rare underdog and they've got limited Eastern Conference. I think rare no cap comes next week, I do believe, and then they'll put, so they'll swap these two around. So super rare no cap will become super rare underdog and rare will become rare no cap. That's essentially it. My rare champion lineup then picks itself again realistically. I've got my main three, Jaren Jackson Jr., Anthony Edwards, and Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown's only got one game, Jaren Jackson Jr. is 2, and Anthony Edwards has got 2. I'm not really worried about the one game it is against the Nets. There's a chance that Jaylen Brown may sit this because he has that right abductor injury management, but I'll roll the dice with him for this, especially because I'd rather play him for the 1 than Gary Trent Jr. or Mikal Bridges for 2. Then to sort of fill out the last 2 spots here, I was playing around. What's the L10 that I had? I was playing around. I have an L10 of 44 here. So Andrew Wiggins has 3 games. It doesn't matter if you have Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, any of the Jordan Poole potentially may, or Draymond Green. The Warriors guys will not play 3. At max, they'll play 2 of them and potentially even 1. But I would guess 2. I'd guess that they'd sit the Denver game, but they'll play OKC and they'll play the Timberwolves. So see it as a guaranteed 2, providing no injuries. So for me, Andrew Wiggins will be playing just for the premise of that he'll get those 2 games. I also think he's an L10 of 28 is really low for him. I know he's not been doing great recently and he has been ill, but he's not on the injury report for Monday. He's not on the injury report for Monday. And yeah, it looked pretty solid. So if I played those 4 guys, I had 16 left, and luckily Joe Harris has an L10 of 16 this week with 2 games. He's still been playing necessarily in that starter role, even though he's not deemed as a starter for the Nets. It's only through Kevin Durant's injury and a few other problems that the Nets have got. But I'm happy to play him as that sort of filler stopgap 5th guy in a rare champion lineup. And fingers crossed we get a back-to-back reward. So then, same thing with rare contender really. The plan of which I used to play rare contender was I normally wanted 1 big guy and then try to fill it out. But now I try and do it vice versa. I'll see if I can play smaller guys and see where it goes from there. Kevin Knox has an L10 of 10 in 2 games. He's consistently been hitting 10, apart from the 2 games where he didn't play here. He's hitting 10 or 11 and he's going potentially into the high teens, which isn't sort of blow out the water unbelievable, but it's sort of what you want from a guy of that caliber. So I'll take him as a 5th man slot. That then leaves me 25 for the next 4 positions. Caleb Martin's L10 is too low, primarily because he's been putting up really low scores for the past few games when he's been in and out of sort of touch and go injuries and illnesses and things like that with Caleb Martin. But providing he stays fit and healthy, 16 L10 is too low for him, so he'll be a 2nd pick. And as you can see here, I've got the rest of my gallery here Kelly Oubre Jr. is injured, but the rest of my gallery is quite high, but I've got a good amount of L10 to play with for the last 3. So Jeremy Sohan will be the third. He came off a really strong game against the Suns, 44-33. So if he keeps his form up, it's a bit too much for the Spurs. They probably don't want him to be doing this well, but this is the case. So we'll take Sohan against the Wizards and the Kings for 2 games, and then from there we've got 30 left. So realistically, we can go any 2 of these 3 here. Jaden Ivey at 29 is quite high, and I'm not sure what the situation is with Killian Hayes yet, and also a few of the other Piston guys. So at the moment, RJ Barrett's a lock. That leaves 32, so I can't play Mikal Bridges or Gary Trent Jr. So I'm probably going to lean towards Jeremy Grant. But let me know in the comments down below, out of those 3 guys there, between Jaden Ivey, Jeremy Grant and RJ Barrett, what 2 of them would you play? So the thing I wanted to talk about really is the title of this video and how hard Champion is becoming. And I think it's due to, I don't think this is a permanent thing and it'll be like this forever. I think the NBA is just in this crazy scoring rut at the moment. I don't think it's a Sorare issue. I think it's just how hard it is right now. To get sort of any reward, you're needing to put up ridiculous scores, like 267 for me, only got me 67th this week. And you roll through some of these sort of performances and you can't expect that you need every single guy to hit with like a 1.5% multiplier on their L10, all 5 guys. Across a week, that's really tough to do, especially in Rare. Because unlike Limited Champion, where it's paid out for the first sort of 1,195, I want to say 1,190 for a tier 5. But if you want sort of a tier 3 where you can start to get people of some worth, you need top 500, which is really tough considering how many people entered this. Limited Champion, 8,600. So you need top 500 out of that, which is crazy numbers. Red Champion a little bit less, there's 2,000 people, but only the top 300 to top 285 actually get rewards. So I think it's if you've started playing recently and you're playing Red Champion, don't be disheartened. I think it's just a crazy thing that's going on in the NBA right now with the silly scoring numbers. I don't suspect this will be a permanent thing and a long-lasting thing. It's just something right now. So then for my Limited Champion team, it picks itself for its MVP. I'm going to go back to basics here. I'm going to pick Joel Embiid as my MVP for Limited Champion. He's got 2 games against the Magic. I don't think there's a chance he sits the one on the 31st of January here. I think just with everything that went on in the last game, they might just try and take it easy with him. We'll pick him anyway for that. So yeah, with everything that went on in the last game, Joel Embiid will definitely be my captain and MVP in Limited Champion. I'm going to keep banging the Dylan Brooks drum. I think L2 at an L10 of 22 is still far too low for him. He's going to have a big game soon. The thing with the Grizzlies is that the last game, Jaren Jackson Jr. and Ja Morant just dominated. There's going to come a time where Dylan Brooks has a sort of 40-point Sorare game, and I want to make sure that he's in a champion lineup when that happens. So we'll have Dylan Brooks in. I don't know what actually replaced him with Embiid, but we'll put Dylan Brooks in as well. That then leaves me an L10 of 32 across the last 3 positions. Of course, I can't be picking Delon Wright. He's part of a giveaway that I'm doing on my own Twitter. The link for that will be in the description down below. It runs out on the 31st of January at 5 PM GMT. Get entering down below. I'm going to put Bradley Beal in as well. I know he let me down necessarily on one of the bigger games last week, but for an L10 of 31 with 2 games against the Spurs and the Pistons, the Wizards are going to try and obviously win these games by a fair margin, and I think Bradley Beal will have to be at his best to do so. So we'll put Bradley Beal in there. That then leaves me 33 for the last 2 guys. De'Aaron Fox would then leave me with 30, and there's some decent pickups here. Carl Anderson I won last week. It'd be a shame that I can't play him because he's been on a tear recently in terms of Sorare scoring. It's between Jalen Duren and Trey Jones. Now between Trey Jones and Jalen Duren, then I think Trey Jones has got a higher floor, but Jalen Duren's got a higher ceiling. So because of that, I'm going to pick Jalen Duren. But what would you do? Let me know in the comments down below. Right, as well, because we've got the limited Eastern Conference lineups, I'll throw a team in here. I've got some decent cards, so there is a tiny chance for a reward, but you'll have about, how many entered it last week? Let's check. 4,600, and it pays out on 415. So you have to have a really strong score to even get a tier 5 gold. In terms of everything that's coming up with it now, we've got Nikola Vucevic, we've got Scotty Barnes, and we've got Franz Wagner. So they're 3 core guys that we can play. I'll throw Gabe Vincent in there as well. And as luck would have it, I've got a choice between Grant Williams, Bol Bol, and Chris Boucher. I think I'll go with Bol Bol in this instance. I know he's been scoring low recently, but I've got a feeling the Sixers will rest some guys on one of these games, and Bol Bol might get some extended minutes as a result of that. But we'll throw Bol Bol in there, but let me know in the comments down below if you would have picked Chris Boucher or Grant Williams in instead. So then for limited contender, Luke Kennard's going to go in there. I know he's had these issues with his calf strain and everything, but there's going to come a point now where the Clippers start to really rest guys. Actually, in fact, that should probably mean I should be playing Terrence Mann. Let's play Terrence Mann over Luke Kennard. Terrence Mann's a better pick with 22. We've then got 22 each to play with. If we can fit one of the big guys in, we might, but we'll go for Drew Eubanks. He's got those 2 games. He's always got a really high ceiling to get in those 50-point games. If I can get back on him, which you see his last few ones, 37s. There's a 44, maybe not 50. 50 was too high then, but you know, mid 30s or high 40s. There's scope for it with Drew Eubanks, especially against the Hawks. You never know. Steven Adams is not playing for the Grizzlies as well at the moment, so even though Jaren Jackson Jr. is on a block party, we'll roll with Drew Eubanks instead. So then if I look at this, I've got 29 left for the last 2, which could put me in sort of Kyle Anderson and Bruce Brown territory. But unless Jamal Murray sits, Bruce Brown I don't really love. He's a consistent scorer, as you can see. He'll always be in and around 27, but I haven't seen him have that sort of, he hasn't had one of those massive games on Sorare yet, so I'll actually leave him for the time being. I like Bruce Brown when he's in the low 20s, not 27. What I am going to do, if I play a Ja Morant here with 44 coming off that 75-point game, that leaves me 15, so I could pick Luke Kennard, who, as I said before, the Sixers, it's a shame I don't have 16 because I would have picked Doug McDermott in that second unit for the Spurs. I'll pick Luke Kennard. Matisse Thybulle was just in there always. I always throw him into my contender lineups. An L10 of 11 isn't great, but there's always scope for him to get 3 or 4 steals off the bench, and then if he gets a couple of points and assists aboard, there's scope for a high teens, low 20s performance always with Matisse Thybulle. So I'll leave him in there. We'll throw Luke Kennard in, and we'll go for a big dog in Ja Morant in our limited contender lineup. So then, common champion. This is the lineup where if I do finish in the top 1,000 and win a limited card, I do give it away to one of you guys. So make sure your Sorare handle is down below in the comments so I can pick one of you at random. Let's pick the team. So even though LeBron is slated to be out for the next game along with AD, I am still going to pick him as my MVP. He's got 3 games this week, and then he plays against the Knicks and the Pacers. If it's at MSG, LeBron's going to want to put a show on, especially as he's in the ramp up towards being Kareem's all-time scoring record. So LeBron is definitely going to be my MVP this week. To pick from the rest of the guys now, we're going to scroll down and we'll look for some budget options that give us some enablers, essentially, that give us room to pick the higher L10 guys. So then with the other guys, I'm scrolling down and I noticed that Luka Doncic is at a 48 L10, which for the second guy in this sort of team, he's far too low for that. Luka Doncic can easily put up a 60 or 70, so he's definitely going to be in. That leaves me with 24 with the last 3 guys left. Kevon Looney's got 3 games with the Warriors. As said, the Warriors will sit people. He's an easy pick for me this week. Leaves me with 23. I did like Jeremy Sohan for my team, but I'll have a play around with some of these guys and come back to you. So I've actually settled on this. It's a different strategy from normal. Jake LaRavia is a guy that's bounced between the Grizzlies and the G League all season long. I don't know why it showed me Sengun there, but Jake LaRavia, is it going to work this time? No, it's still going to show me Sengun. That's great. Wait, here we go. Jake LaRavia. So he's bounced between the Grizzlies and the G League all year. There's scope for him to come off and get minutes, but mainly it enabled me to pick Steph Curry, who even with 3 games, he'll play 2 of these most likely. And with Steph, there's always a chance for him to hit a 60, 70-point game on Sorare for an L10 of 44. We'll roll the dice with this common champion lineup and hope that these 3 big hitters here can help us secure that limited card so I can give it away to one of you guys. So then this is my common contender and my common Eastern Conference lineup. I just threw them together. Make sure you comment down below your Sorare handle so I can give away the card if we do win in common champion. Fingers crossed for big games from LeBron, Luka, and Steph. That's going to wrap that one up there. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Leave your Sorare handle in the comments down below for the giveaway. Drop a like on the video and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.